The home poll for many competitors on the East Central Iowa Championship Polling Series is the Linn County Fair, and partially the birthplace 28 years ago of ECI. All of the professional truck and tractor pulling action from Central City is next, right here on MC22. Looks like the skies are clearing. The rain has quit falling from the sky, and the track crew has done a fantastic job of preparing for a little precipitation as we're going to go tractor pulling tonight. Professional truck and tractor pulling, the 28th year for the East Central Iowa Pullers, and this the 5th of 23 stops in the season-long championship tour. Good evening and welcome to Central City. Andy Peterson is my name. Wyatt Blackford will be along here in a little bit as the track, as you mentioned, or as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is going to be in outstanding shape despite a little bit of a hurdle thrown by Mother Nature. So you can see the packing activities have begun. The marking and chalking of the out-of-bounds lines, the measuring of distances are also taking place as we get set to feature 6 championship classes here this evening on a Saturday night with a full grandstands at the Linn County Fair. We'll get things started in just a moment here on MC22. Stick around.
Malware and bots and worms, oh my. The wild, wild web can be a scary and complex place. And as our digital world expands, so too are the threats. Watch out, Trojan horse. That's why at MediaCom, we take security very seriously and monitor our networks around the clock to stop threats before they can affect you. Not today, rude kid. Not all internet is created equal. We build ours to keep you connected and protected.
This is the internet that keeps the TV streaming, the meetings zooming, the playlist flowing, and the doorbell showing who's coming and going. This is the internet that powers the workout, that does the homework, that makes the lights work, that makes for light work, and makes...
Don't forget to pick up Charlie.
...your life work. This is the internet that keeps it all connected and has hundreds of people who ensure it's protected.
Nice try, hackers.
This is the internet voted best because it's extreme, nothing less.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, lovely. McKenna Rawson, everyone.
Our first class tonight here in Central City is the 11,000-pound, 12,000-pound Too Hot to Farm class. Tractors that will look the most tonight like they just came off the farm. Too hot, obviously, to farm with, but at the same time, an affordable entry place for some folks, and quite a few of them, into professional truck and tractor pulling. You can see the rules there. A lot of questions surrounding the speed limit, and the answer to why there's a speed limit, as much as anything, is to make it an entry-level cost and try and keep the competition fair at the same time. And we're finally set to go truck and tractor pulling here at the Linn County Fair with the 11,000, 12,000 pound too hot to farm class. I told you that these things will look the closest to tractors that you would see or maybe used to see out in the fields. Tractor is not new to the circuit, but the driver is. And one other nuance to professional truck and tractor pulling with East Central Iowa pullers is the first puller in each class is known as the test puller. In other words, see how the track is, see how the skid is set, see how his tractor is performing. And as such, that driver has the option at the end of the pull to either decide that he or she didn't like how things went, and they will turn it down and come back later, or they'll decide that that's about as good as they can do, and nobody else they don't think can do any better, and they will accept the pull and will be officially underway, or the skid operator may change things up as well. But that all happens on the first pull of every class. There are 6 here tonight in Central City, and we are nearly ready for the green flag. You'll see standing at 300 plus feet and about 100 feet are 2 professionally trained flagmen from the East Central Iowa Pullers. And their job essentially is to make sure that everything looks as it should for the driver and the skid as they go by. There you see the green flag, of course the red flag in front, and if something goes awry, you'll see that red flag come out. The driver will see it and immediately shut down the machine, or the skid operator will see it and activate the additional safety mechanisms from within the operator's seat there. We'll hear a little bit more about some of those features a little bit later on with Ed Walker, who is sitting behind the controls of the Bumgart Motorsports X Factor skid here tonight in Central City. Green flag at 300 feet, green flag at 100 feet for Ben Wilkner, the Macon Bacon tractor. How about that? 300 plus feet in here. Nice round of applause from the crowd. 312 feet to be exact. 16-mile-an-hour speed limit maintained. See, he got off to a very good start. And you'll also watch the driver intently focusing on speed early in the pull, as that, if anything, is when a speeding penalty and disqualification can occur. We will see if Ben out of Farmersburg, Iowa, takes that pull. As he pulls away, the discussion continues. And thumbs up from flagman Nick Shirley. Ben has accepted that pull, and we are officially underway here in the too hot to farm class. Next puller here is a guy from 10 miles or so away from Central City, just across the county line. Larry finishing 4th a year ago in the season-long points championship. Never did get that win. 2nd place was the best finish for Larry in Marengo towards the end of the year. And he came home in 5th place at this pull a year ago. Finished 2nd last night in Jessup. The Lions Club put on an outstanding pull there. Larry Lawrence, always a tough competitor, finishes at 3:08. An 8-1 within the speed limit and just behind our leader at this point. Watch his pull again here. Slight front end rise and right back down. You can notice when the driver starts to feel the momentum slow down of his or her machine as that weight box advances forward and as such provide more horsepower via the throttle. Try and thread the needle of speed versus the speed limit that will get you disqualified. Third puller here in the Too Hot to Farm class from Ridgeway, Iowa. I'd say a bit of a unique color scheme. There are a couple of Case IH tractors that you'll see painted all black. It's actually a bit of an exaggeration of a color scheme that included red with a black stripe when these tractors were out of the factory. A couple of years of production that featured that type of design. Steve, your second place points champion, finisher a year ago, so a podium finish for him. Won the pole in Monticello for his only win of the year. A couple of second places, Davenport, Manchester as well. Didn't have a very good run here, finished mid-pack or so a year ago, looking to improve on that. And of course, try and take over the lead. The distance to beat is 3:12 and 45 from Ben Wilkner. Green flags for the tractor known as the Weekend Hooker, and away we go. Into second place at 3:09 and 7. Goes Steve. Having a bit of a rough start to this season, however. He hasn't finished, or has yet to finish in the top 5. There are 17 tractors in the Too Hot to Farm class. So as you can see, finishing the top 5 a bit of a challenge, but second place so far with that distance for Steve Spalla. Up next here in this Too Hot to Farm class, a guy who finished 10th place in the points a year ago, did get a couple of wins. In fact, it looks like Jessup last year. Tyler took home the top prize, and then the very next night here, finished mid-pack, which is how it goes in this class sometimes with as many numbers as there are. And of course, if you happen to get disqualified for speeding, why, that can ruin your night in a big hurry. So far this year, Tyler's had a couple of pretty good runs. In fact, he sits tied for second in the points race. 2 third-place finishes. Allison a couple of weeks ago, Davenport as well, and a bit of a rough start to the season in Cuba City, but it's certainly trending up. Trying to hit that left brake a little bit, and generally speaking, that takes some distance off the final total, as it did here, under 300 feet, 298 and 6. And also 15.4 miles an hour when we talk about the relationship between speed and final distance, momentum, of course. Not quite enough speed, not quite quick enough on the throttle down through there to get enough speed in order to pull the skid close to that leading distance at this point. So it looks like after a couple of strong runs, a bit of a step back here for Tyler Wessels. Remember, the East Central Iowa Board of Directors is next up to hook onto the skid here. Local guy as well. Past member, I should say, of the ECI Board of Directors. In fact, past vice president, 10-plus year. East Central Iowa puller. Saw Dan earlier this week here at the Linn County Fair on the sidelines of a couple of livestock shows. course, we talk about this being the home pull for quite a few of these folks, and Dan is certainly one of them. Finished just outside the top 10 last year, did get a win in Davenport and got a win in Dubuque, but unfortunately had some trouble at the end of the year with the tractor, so he missed 4 events, and there is nothing that hurts worse in the push for a season championship than missing events. Dan finishing 5th at this pole a year ago. 15.4 miles an hour, not quite to the 300-foot mark at 298.3. Take a look at this again here as he gets going. See, the front end is sort of glued to the track there. A couple of weights out there. That's one of the adjustments that can be made. Move those weights off the front to the rear. Dan also a past ECI champion in this class, taking home top prize in both 2018 and 2017. Certainly hard running tractor there, not the pole that he wanted and pass that he wanted to make though here at his home event. These guys have some fun with their tractor names, there's no doubt about that. Check this one out. The Manure Spreader Mafia tractor. Doug about an hour away from home here. And that's part of the commitment to a season of professional truck and tractor pulling, is these guys put on a lot of miles throughout 23 different venues, host sites over the course of 3 months. Parts of June, all of July, and most of August, in fact. Seventh place points finish a year ago, and last year's winner. Distance to beat 3:12 and 45 for Doug Martins. Gets a strong start off the line, no question about that. Timing looks pretty good on the throttle. And into the lead he goes. 3:22 and 5. 10 feet past the prior leader, Ben Wilkner. It looked good the entire way with the strong start. Timing on the throttle to maintain speed. It's excellent. And Doug Martins tries to go 2 for 2 as he takes the lead here in Central City. So a new leader here in the too hot to farm class is we're about a third of the way through, and the next guy to take a shot is Mike out of Sumner. In fact, we're going to see his brother a little bit later on the light limited super stock class. First year, his brother has been involved in professional truck and tractor pulling. It's a family affair, as we see so many times. .322 and 5, the distance to beat. Mike so far this year picked up 3rd place in Cuba City, at the opening pole of the season. Then finished mid-pack in Davenport. And inside the top 10 of Allison a week and a half ago. 3:08.6 distance for Mike there. 15.8 miles an hour. You can see he took a little bit of a different line towards the top side of the track. mud flying. The end as well. Here's another mid-pack finish for Mike Gott at Central City. Well, Dan's up next here in the Too Hot to Farm class. .966 International. You can see the chrome sides that he's had a little bit of fun with. Fifth place finisher as far as the season championship goes a year ago. Did finally get a win towards the end of the year. Palo, a couple of second place finishes. Finished outside the top 5 here in Central City last year. And letting it go because he will be our first disqualification due to speed of the evening. It's 16.1 miles an hour, distance of 3:04 and 3. But if you notice right there, just a split second too quick onto the throttle. 1/10 of a mile an hour over the speed limit and no distance. A little bit of an unfortunate occurrence. Disappointing, no doubt, for Dan Himes, the Putz Dairy tractor. Well, look at this. Our first female driver of the evening and youngest driver from here in Central City. Hometown girl we had a chance to catch up with a little bit earlier in the pits. So multi-generational pulling, which is one of the neat parts about the Central Iowa Pullers Show at the Linn County Fair. And home pull here for BJ and Carly Newstole. BJ, talk a little bit about how you got started pulling. What keeps you coming back?
I started pulling back when I was 14. My dad had an M Farmall, put me on that. And I'm 44 now, so that's been about 30 years ago. So, and then about 10 years ago, we got the wild hair to build this one, and she helped me. She helped me weld everything together and build the motor. And then it blew up last year, so we had to rebuild it. So, but learning is a learning curve. So, but I love it. It's an addiction. So it really is. So, and then I put her on the seat, and now she's addicted to it too. So it's, yeah, we love it. So.
Absolutely. Carly, what do you like about it?
Honestly, for me, it's the adrenaline rush when I get out there. This year, I've actually been able to not be so nervous, and I can actually feel like what I'm doing down the track, and I don't know, I just like it. And I get to look like my dad, so.
And you're the third generation.
Well, of course, yeah, there's that.
So what's going through your mind then as you back up to the sled, start to hook up, and get ready for that pull?
Honestly, everything that Dad has been lecturing me about the day before. Got to make sure all the lights turn on as I'm going down the track, and got to make sure I'm good and lined up, and we got all the weights and stuff and everything out, and got to just make sure that it's ready.
Do you ever tell her not to speed?
I have, but she does a lot better job than I do. So, and then she wants to run the open speed classes now. She's had enough of the speed limit classes, but we're still working our way up. So,
tell me about the pink bibs.
The pink bibs, I got the idea from my dad from years ago, but the reason I really wear them now is she was in an ATV accident about 8 years ago, her and her sister, and she was in a wheelchair for probably 9 months, and she just, the way she is, she's really, you would never be able to tell. I mean, she's really strong-willed, and I wear it because I have 2 daughters, and if I don't have any boys, so I guess I'm just having to join them, so I can't beat them. So,
and we'll see you in the pink bibs, I would imagine, a little bit later on. Yeah. So what do your friends at school think when you talk about pulling?
Well, some of them, it's not really their thing, but I do have a couple of buddies here that are also with families, like Deer Hunter. I know him. He's in my class. I don't know. They just think it's pretty cool. They don't always understand it, but they like to come and watch me. So
that's pretty cool. Well, best of luck tonight, you two. Thank you.
Thank you.
Strapped in, you can see it in gear. There goes the safety harness for Carly. She got her first pull of the year behind the wheel, at least last night, up in Jessup. Mid-pack finish or so. Talk about an entry-level class. We talk about learning to drive one of these machines, and she is picking it up very, very quickly. Maybe a little bit of a rough start. And she will try that again. Each competitor has 2 opportunities to go at least 100 feet, provided they clearly end the attempt before the 100-foot mark. She did that and didn't like her start for some reason or another, and so the skid will pull her backwards, and she will give that another shot. She talked about getting over nerves and remembering what she's been taught. We go to a forward gear. In this moment, well, she tightens the chain and waits for the green flag. Safety harnesses are on. Green flags are out for the 3rd generation puller, hometown girl in Central City at the Linn County Fair. Much better. As they bring her down through here. And listen to the cheer of the crowd at 3, 12, and 8. Great support here for one of their hometown representatives. Unfortunately, she may have gotten a little bit over anxious at the throttle, and you can see right there, Carly went over the speed limit, so that distance will not count, and she will experience her first disqualification of the 2023 Central Iowa Professional Truck and Tractor Pulling season. Off we go here as we have reached the halfway point in the Too Hot to Farm class. Another multi-generational pulling operation and family. Dad Dave there. You'll see son Austin a little bit later on. Dave pulling son Ryan's double trouble tractor here tonight. Ryan finished 6th in the points a year ago. 2 wins toward the end of the season really helped turn things around for him as he won in Palo and in Tripola. 3:07 and 9 the distance for Dave. Of course, there's some friendly ribbing that goes on between the 3 of them, Dave and his 2 sons, about who the better driver is and whose tractor is better. Dave, of course, reminds him that he knows a thing or two about pulling and has been doing it quite a bit longer, and trying to teach him, and all in good fun, of course. Well, how about this machine hooking on? The old V8 Caterpillar-powered Oliver. Dean makes his way south here with the Scaredy Cat. A tractor that made scattered appearances with moderate success on the Central Iowa Pulling Circuit a year ago. So far this year, we've seen him every night. Did get a top 10 finish in Davenport here a couple of weeks ago. Shooting for a distance of 3:12 and 45. The first guy in the class, Ben Wilkner, still out there as the leader. Towards the top of the track, you see Dean have to get into the Brakes a little bit to get it straightened out. That took quite a bit of distance off the final total at 281 and 5, just 15.1 miles an hour. Not quite able to gain enough traction or momentum. To reach the required distance. See a few of those Olivers scattered throughout here in various classes tonight. Of course, manufactured in Charles City, Iowa, back when Oliver was still in business. And those machines were commonplace out in the farm fields of eastern Iowa. See the beautiful mural there of the buck deer on the side of Jeremy Reuter's tractor. We talk about this being a driver's class with that speed limit out there. And nowhere is that more evident than so far the way the season has gone for Jeremy. Made the drive out here out of Wisconsin, one of a handful of Wisconsin-based competitors in the Central Iowa Points Series. Last year's points champion. 3 wins, 4 second place finishes, and Jeremy was pretty dominant. This year, so far, he's not even in the top 10. Looking to change that, of course, today. Also won the season points championship back in 2021 as well. Looking for his first podium finish. And it's not going to continue, or it's not going to come tonight at 298. Hit the speed right on the button at 16 miles an hour. Couldn't do any better than that, but it just wasn't there for the guy that's won the past 2 points championships. Certainly far too early to count him out this season, but people like Ben Wilkner, who leads this class, of course, and Ryan Miller, who we saw earlier as the current points leader. John Deere fans, another green machine is the next puller. Colin hails from Westgate, Iowa. Colin actually stepping up a class here this year. He's pulling in the farm stock class, 13,000 pound farm stock class. For the last couple of years, in fact, he was the 5th place finisher in the points championship in that class. Decided it was time to advance a little bit here. And a distance of 300 feet. 14.8 miles an hour. A few upgrades, as you can see, but still some work to do to fully make the adjustment into the new class for Colin. Experience for Colin as he looks for the correct gear here after that 300-foot performance at the Linn County Fair. Well, probably the furthest trip, at least of competitors in this Too Hot to Farm class, belongs to this guy, Brian. Imagine that, from Wisconsin, with the Bucky Badger reference there. Runs his own tractor pull up there as well. Sporadic appearances a year ago on the East Central Iowa Championship Pulling Series. 2 second-place finishes. West Liberty and Springville. Towards the end of the year, certainly got some things figured out. And right into the lead he goes. 3:14 and 2. 15.4 miles an hour, so he is under the speed limit as well. And we can officially say that Brian Mueller has taken over the lead here in the Too Hot to Farm class. Did finish second in Allison a couple of weeks ago. Still looking for that first win here of the year. Sitting in pretty good position now with 3 pullers left to go. One of our winners this year on the East Central Iowa Championship Pulling Series. Here's hooking on now, Mitch Sumbaugh. Just up the road here, home pull for him as well. Got a win in Davenport a couple of weeks ago, and if you watch, Mitch drives this tractor, steering wheel, runs the throttle, all with his left hand. Never did find victory circle a year ago, did Mitch, coming home 9th in the points. Best finish was a second place finish in Palo. Got close, and then just a couple of weeks ago, did get the victory. Which means he's currently tied for 4th now.
Nice hook, Mitch, old boy.
3:12 and 3 the distance there for Mitch. Stayed under the speed limit, 15.3 miles an hour. A couple of feet out of the lead there in the pull of Brian Mueller just a hook ago, but I believe that's good right now for 3rd place in the class. With Nathan Swales and Ron Niemeyer yet to pull. Another local tractor is the second to last pull in the Too Hot to Farm class. And actually, driver Nathan, it's his 2nd full year of competition along the East Central Iowa Championship Pulling Series. We're going to hear from Wyatt Blackford with our class winners tonight. This is the tractor that Wyatt used to pull for quite a long time. Natural Born Thriller. Mentioned that it was Nathan's 2nd full season, certainly a season of learning a year ago. A couple of 3rd place finishes, West Liberty and Palo for Nathan. Scattered in amongst some mid-pack finishes as that timing starts to develop. Adjustment of weights, knowledge starts to develop. 299 and 8 final distance. 15.3 miles an hour, so he'll finish mid-pack here. And we're around to the final competitor here in the 11,000, 12,000 pound Too Hot to Farm class. And our second Oliver of the class. John Deere in the lead, Case IH in 2nd. Right now.
Turn, man, you want to get past 312. Got to
Tractor here that was with the ECI about half the time last season. In fact, got a win at the final pull of the year in Marengo a year ago. Owned by Stan Mayman. Normally drives the tractor, but unable to make it tonight. As long as the tractor is here, the points championship is still on the line. As the points count, and 310.1 the distance for Ron. Great representation for Oliver tonight. He kept it on the speed limit. Tractor currently 12th in the points race, yet to crack the top 5, but like I said, got a win in the last pull of the year a year ago, so you know it's certainly capable, and we'll get some results here from the class. Certainly another thriller. Ben Wilkner finishing in second. Brian Mueller taking home the win by a little under 2 feet. Ben, the first tractor. Test puller decided to keep his pull and kept the lead as more than 10 competitors tried to match it, couldn't do it. Took an outstanding run for Brian to get his first win in a couple of years. Comes in Central City tonight.
Well, Brian Mueller, congratulations.
I just want to thank you for the
On behalf of the Linn County Fair Board, Ryan Seek and Scott Rochar, the operators of this tractor pull, we'd like to grant you this first place trophy or plaque on behalf of the fair as a token of our appreciation for joining us tonight here, and we truly do appreciate you coming. Is there? Oh, all right. Hey, we're gonna put a face to the name here, folks. Yes, this machine down here on the track, the Bucky's Buck John Deere 4450, owned by Brian Mueller. Started campaigning this tractor in 2020 or what?
20. Yeah, we bought the tractor in 2016, but we didn't actually bring it out till there was a little bit of a shop wager that we couldn't have it running in 2020, so we brought it out. Been a fun ride. I appreciate all the ECI guys. I mean, Tim Borwald and Dan Arnold, our president, vice president, they've been great to us. Wyatt Blackford here, he's been a good buddy of mine. He's pushed me along, kept me moving. We worked back and forth a little bit. I also want to thank my track crew, JB Justal, Ann Lazar. She's been helping me all the way the last couple of years, pushing me to do better, getting me where I need to be. Thanks to all you spectators. You guys are the reason we're allowed to come here. You guys put on for us. Give yourselves a round of hand. Thank you, and thank you, promoters.
We talk about tractor pulling, of course, being a wholesome family entertainment, not only for those in the stands, but the people who are operating, building, working on the machines that you are enjoying tonight. It's been a full day of tractor pulling here at the Linn County Fair. It started earlier with the next generation of tractor pullers on tractors a little more their size. Look at that. And a look of enjoyment there after the pull's over. Check out the concentration as well. And yeah, leaning back. A little bit more torque on those back wheels to help out. They certainly get into it, don't they? You can see why. You talk to Carly and she sticks with it. Talk to BJ, and he's the second generation Newstall, as we did a little bit on the broadcast. The kids get bigger, the machines get a little bit bigger too. The focus as the competition ratchets up there towards the end of the track. So close, and then of course those machines get a little bit bigger too, with a little bit more horsepower for the bigger kids. Look at the dust flying. Look at the guy in the back of the skid. Trying to keep that under control and maintain his eyesight to a certain degree. So much fun had by the pullers and the fans alike, culminating you know, with the big machines that we're seeing. 250 horsepower there to 2,500 plus tonight on the track with East Central Iowa.
Malware and bots and worms, oh my. The wild, wild web can be a scary and complex place. And as our digital world expands, so too are the threats. Watch out, Trojan horse. That's why at MediaCom, we take security very seriously and monitor our networks around the clock to stop threats before they can affect you. Not today, rude kid. Not all internet is created equal. We build ours to keep you connected and protected.
Watching MC22 is now easier than ever before. All MediaCom customers can watch local programming online anytime. Go to MC22.net, click Watch MC22, and log in with your MediaCom account. Not a MediaCom cable subscriber? MediaCom internet or phone subscribers can watch too. Your local programming leader, MC22, online at mc22.net/watch.
Well, you're seeing the beautiful Bumgart Motorsports skid regulating all the action tonight. Of course, one of many mechanical weight transfer operations across the Midwest. And we go behind the scenes here with Ed Walker, the operator.
We've all seen him, but we probably don't know a whole lot about what goes on inside there, as there is a lot of work that helps to facilitate. Professional truck and tractor pulling Ed Walker is running the Bumgart Motorsports X Factor skid here at the Linn County Fair today. And how long have you been sitting in the cab of a pulling skid?
This is my 10th year running sled.
What do you enjoy about it?
Oh, I don't know, just getting right down the track behind everyone, I guess. On a good run, you're doing 30, 32 mile an hour behind a couple thousand horsepower, and basically the world's biggest tug of war.
And you always win, don't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, most of the time.
So talk a little bit about some of the decision-making that goes on here, because you do have to stop those 3,000 plus horsepower machines.
Yeah, basically it's all what you're type pulling. You know, a littler vehicle that's less horsepower and less weight takes less weight in the sled. The more horsepower and the heavier the vehicle, the more weight in the sled. The sled empty weighs about 32,000. Fully loaded, it weighs about 62,000. It's powered by a Deutz diesel air-cooled motor and drives with an Allison transmission. And kind of the weight box will start at the back where it is now, and it's basically a rolling weight. The front of the sled, when they take off, will actually come up off the ground a few inches. And we'll go down the track, and about 200 foot, the back of the pan relaxes on the ground. And then when the box tops out, there's cylinders that picks up the back of the sled, and 100% of the weight of the sled will be dragging on the sled, on the pan on the ground.
So when we see you out between the classes, what kind of adjustments are you making?
We can put weights inside the box, and then there's a 5-speed transmission that we can shift gears and make the box go faster or slower. Depending on, of course, what you're pulling. The faster, more horsepower you get, the faster the box has got to get to the front to get them stopped.
And you also have access to several things in the cab. Should there be some sort of a breakage?
Yeah, during the run, I'll sit in the cab and ride down the track, and I don't do nothing really while the pull's going on. The only reason I'm kind of there is for safety. If the vehicle would get out of control or something, I got a kill switch I can pull, and it'll kill their motor. And I can lock the sled down and stop the sled dead in its tracks. So, if someone was possibly going to roll, I could lock the sled down and get them stopped before they go all the way over.
The takeoff speed, to me, was some of these higher horsepower vehicles is incredible. You're talking about 30, 35 miles an hour, and it all happens in just a couple of seconds.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and like you said, just in a few seconds. You go from a standing start to 300 to 350 foot with 50,000 pounds behind you. Stuff's happening in a hurry, and it's a rush.
There's no doubt about that. Ed, thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
360 Hot Stocks class kicking off here. one of the best, the last year's points champion. See the black smoke. And what a distance, 3:38.2, the test puller there for Andrew, and that tractor, as I mentioned, is no stranger to success. He's off to a good start here, and of course Andrew is the test puller. We'll see if he decides he likes that pull. Front end just light enough to bob along there, which means maximum downforce on the drive tires. Thumbs in the air from finish line flagman Nick Shirley, and Andrew will take that distance, and we're officially underway in the 360 hot stocks class. Here are the rules. 360 hot stocks comes from exactly where you would think it does. The 360 cubic inch max motor. You heard the rev limiter, 3,500, 750 to 800 horsepower for most of these machines. Guy that's been pulling for quite a while with the East Central Iowa pullers. Actually took most of the year off last year and the last couple of years, actually. And this year has been back at it. 7:06. Just saw Andrew Vorwald pull here a moment ago. Andrew's older brother, Tim, currently serving as president of the East Central Iowa Pullers. And he was driving this tractor in Davenport as Mike couldn't make it, but since then, seen Mike at every pull. Neighboring Jones County. 3:38.2, the distance to beat for Mike. Get on that brake pretty hard. And he's knocking on the door there at 3:33.2. See him. Nice little rise from the front end and weighted properly to where he avoids the wheelie bars. You saw from the behind the skid cam, the big turn in the track when he had to get on the brake, and that knocked several feet off of his final distance. 5 feet behind Andrew Vorwald comes in Mike Orr here in the hot stocks class. Sometimes this class is referred to as the Jones County class for a reason. So far, all 3 entries have been from Jones County, Iowa. And in fact, 4 of the 7 all hail from within about 15 miles of each other. We talk about pulling families, multi-generational, well, pulling friendships as well. One of the great things about professional truck and tractor pullers is they're competitors on the track, but they're always quick to lend a helping hand if somebody needs it. Nick Shirley here got his first ECI win a year ago up in Jessup. So far this season, sitting in 6th in the points with, get this, 3 fifth-place finishes. So he's been nothing if not consistent. Also serves as a flagman. Not in this class, obviously, but serves as a flagman for the East Central Iowa Pullers, and you've seen him at the finish line tonight in that 2 hot to farm class. 3:30.7, the distance for Nick, so he's in 3rd place here. There, he's got his visor up a little bit. Well, I mentioned Andrew Vorwald has won the last 2 points championships in this class. His older brother Tim has won the last 2 points championships in his class, the hot farm class. The one brother who is still searching for his championship is up next, and that'd be Justin. He's also the only brother that pulls a John Deere. And he's also the current points leader in this class, so he's making a run for it, at least early on in the season. Got a win in Davenport, a second place finish in Allison the other night. Andrews actually won twice, but that off the podium finish really has hurt him in the points race to this point. 3:38, the distance to beat. He's trying to get his brother here tonight. Higher line. And he can't quite do it. Quick finish there for Justin. 3:34. They'll slide him into second place behind brother Andrew, and that might shake the points race up just a little bit here. Sort of the abrupt finish for Justin. Past East Central Iowa champion, pulling onto the track here and getting properly secured to the skid. Been pulling tractors for over 50 years. That's Steve. Close to Jones County, at least, just over the border in Jackson County out of Monmouth, Iowa. Steve actually was the last ECI points champion not named Andrew Vorwald. You can believe that. Won it back in 2019. And 2017, as well as 2016. So he certainly knows professional truck and tractor pulling and how to make them run really, really well. The distance to beat was 3:38 and 2. Steve goes 3:27 and 8. 24 miles an hour top speed. Gets the wheelie bars a little bit there, takes a little bit of speed off, and that does translate to distance. Been a bit of a rough season for Steve. Missed the pole in Allison. Third place finish in Davenport. But boy, that missing the pole makes it really, really tough in the season-long points race. Next opportunity for John Deere fans to root on. The 40-10 that Max is hooking onto the skid. First time we saw this tractor was West Liberty a year ago. He's been pretty competitive, actually. Podium finishes. Best was a third place finish a couple of times. The Coconut at the Jackson County Fair and in Palo towards the end of the season. Sits in fifth in the points so far. He finished second in Cuba City and then has 2 fourth place finishes. Still looking for that first ECI win, though. 3:38 and 2, Andrew Warwald has occupied the top spot since the first pull. And 2 feet short. Into second place goes Max with this run. Oh, so close to that top spot. Not quite. Right now, another second place finish. Second one of those of the season. If things don't change here in our final 2 hooks during the 360 hot stocks class. Well, it's nice to see this local tractor back out on the track again. Saw him in Cuba City And then didn't see him in Davenport, didn't see him in Alburnett, or excuse me, in Allison, and saw him again last night in Jessup. Although it certainly wasn't the run that he had hoped for, as he continues to work on the tractor a little bit. Another one of those guys that is pulling in front of the home crowd here in Linn County. 6th place finish in the points a year ago. Struggled a little bit though to get inside the top 5. Cockshut tractor, Canadian tractor. Somewhat on the rare side as far as ownership goes in the countryside across eastern Iowa, but you mentioned each puller has 2 opportunities to go at least 100 feet. Clearly, Rick gave up that pull well before the 100-foot mark, so they will give her another shot here. And the final puller. Now second to last puller, one more. Peyton Rupp is up next. This will be the official pull now for Rick Martin, Papa's Toy. There's that red limiter that we talked about. Back wheels still aren't spinning like he needs them to, and then when they do kick in, the RPMs kick down. Something under the hood there not cooperating with Rick, which is certainly too bad. Another one of our Linn County East Central Iowa pullers. Clearly disappointed. Oh boy, you see some smoke coming out from under the hood there. Adjustments to be made, certainly, for Rick Martin. Go back and work on it some, and you can see the smoke rising from the grill there. Heat build up somewhere that it shouldn't be building up. Youngest competitor here in the 360 hot stocks class, and also the final competitor, another Jones County native. Father-son pulling team. Father Rusty does some of the driving. Son Peyton, barely into his 20s, does some of the driving. 3rd place finisher in the points a year ago, which was actually basically their first full season on the ECI circuit. They did get their first ECI win towards the end of the year. 2nd place finish in Davenport a year ago as well, so that tractor continues to get better. Drivers continue to improve. In fact, the first year it was just the basic 720 sheet metal that looked like the tractor did when it was drug out from under the trees and made into a pulling tractor, and then between the first year and second year it got the mural added to it and some more horsepower added to it, and in fact the tractor sits 4th in points right now. 3rd place finish up in Allison, the best finish of the year for Peyton. He'd like to change that here tonight. The guy sitting in the lead was the first puller, Andrew Vorwald. Max Roop in 2nd place as they wait on the green flag here to clean up the track a little bit from Rick Martin's tractor. Looks like officials are pleased with the cleanup activities. Peyton's got the chain tight. Best looking 720 John Deere I've ever seen, that's for sure. What a way to wind up the 360 Hot Stocks class here in Central City tonight. Green flags out. Hard on the brake is Peyton. Probably a little heavy on the nose as well, not much front end action. And he comes up 3 feet short of the lead. 334. The top speed of 25 miles an hour, and you can see right there. Hard on that brake, and that takes up distance in a big hurry. Still looking for that first win of the year. And we'll get some results for you here in the 360 Hot Stocks class. And there we go. Andrew Vorwald takes the lead on the first pole and maintains it the entire class. Third win of the year for Andrew. And brother Justin, the points leader, finishes in 4th, so perhaps a bit of an adjustment to the point standings here. Mike Orr sitting 2nd in points, comes in 5th place. Congratulations to your most recent points champion, Andrew Vorwald, picking up his 3rd win of the year as we pull some diesel pickups right after this on MC22.
Malware and bots and worms, oh my. The wild, wild web can be a scary and complex place. And as our digital world expands, so too are the threats. Watch out, Trojan horse. That's why at MediaCom, we take security very seriously and monitor our networks around the clock to stop threats before they can affect you. Not today, rude kid. Not all internet is created equal. We build ours to keep you connected and protected.
Watching MC22 is now easier than ever before. All MediaCom customers can watch local programming online anytime. Go to MC22.net, click Watch MC22, and log in with your MediaCom account. Not a MediaCom cable subscriber? MediaCom internet or phone subscribers can watch too. Your local programming leader, MC22, online at mc22.net/watch.
Oh, great crowd on hand here at the Linn County Fairgrounds after the big Jody Messina concert last night. Another wonderful evening of professional truck and tractor pulling, Central City, Iowa. So we move into pulling pickups, the Pro Street Diesel pickup class. About 1,000 horsepower, maybe a little less, coming down through there. Limiting the turbo size, of course, and also the size of the drivetrain in order to keep things as fair as possible. And we're ready to go here in the pickup class. And this guy has been excellent so far this year. No question about that. Be the only Chevrolet that we'll see in the class. Be a very entertaining class here, no doubt about that, as all of these trucks are capable of winning. Majority of them are Dodges. There is a Ford tonight. Nate Weber is joining us, the Bad Decision truck. Late nights at Long Necks, you can see the name of the truck there from Zach. Zach, a new member to the Central Iowa Pullers this year. We're thrilled to have him with us. Black smoke coming here shortly. There we go. Zach, our test puller here in the diesel pickup class. And 325.2 is the distance for Zach. This is our test puller. We'll see if Zach accepts that pull or if he turns it down. 25.5, nearly 26 miles an hour. Defending champion pulling on the track next to Brian in the great white. Taking the top spot last year. 4 wins, 4 second place finishes as he was at or near the top of every single event. '99 Dodge. Excuse me, second place truck behind that of Nate Weber. My notes correctly, it always helps. Still capable of winning each and every night. 325 and 2. Distance to beat of Zach. And there's your new leader, 325 and 5. Brian Gilchrist laying down a heck of a run. Did win the points championship in 17 and 18. So a 2-time ECI champion. And actually just missed out on the championship last year by a couple of points. So great run there. Another Dodge on the track here, a little newer one. This is a 2005 version. Kurt was finishing 4th last year in season points. Missed the first hook in Davenport, which really hurt as far as the final point standings go, as he actually won 5 times. He was the winner of more pulls last year than anybody else in this class, but that just goes to show you how much damage is done. He missed 2 hooks. How much damage gets done when hooks are missed and something goes awry. So this truck is competitive as any once again. 325 and 5. Brian Gilchrist is the leader. That's what Kurt will be shooting for. By 3 feet, 328 and 4, despite the quick finish. Over 26 miles an hour and enough momentum there as the weight box came up and sucked the horsepower from the pulling machine to push Kurt into the lead. That truck is good as any of them on the circuit. He knocks the Linn County resident Brian Gilchrist down to the second position. Here is last year's points champion. Another one of our Wisconsin pullers here on the East Central Iowa Championship Pulling Series. And the only Ford in the class. So Ford fans, this is your one truck to pull for. Actually, I've yet to see him this year, so it's great to see Nate back on the track after I mentioned picking up the series points championship a year ago. Only won 3 times, but finished second or third basically the rest of the year. In fact, yeah, never finished worse than third place. Consistency for Nate. 2005 Ford. And not quite. 323 and 1. Power through diesel. Nate dropped a cylinder on the truck. Lee finished 5th. Points race a year ago, missing 3 hooks. Did get a win at the Dubuque County Fair late in the season. Second place finish as well in DeWitt and Manchester. So the Dodge certainly is competitive on the series as well. Got to see him last night in Jessup. Did miss the Allison pole a little bit earlier this year, but finished second in Davenport. The Cummins RPMs coming down through here. All that black smoke, a good run going. And he comes up just a bit short. 327 and 9. About 5 inches behind Kurt Smalley, the leader. Second place with 2 trucks left to go. Straight run there for Lee Foreman.
And don't forget, Janice Martins, if you're out there in the pit, you have been promptly reminded to get at it. I don't mean to put the business
The 2002 Dodge is up next. Furthest travel for a competitor in this diesel pickup class, Central Iowa and Mingo. It's north of Interstate 80, just outside of Des Moines. First year that Matt has pulled with us. They're a new member to the growing East Central Iowa Pullers Association. And a great competitor who's come right in and sits second in the points in his first season. Third place finish in Davenport, second place finish in Allison, still looking for his first East Central Iowa Pullers Association win. If he's going to do it, going to beat a distance of 328 and 4. Chad Brown comes to a quick halt at 3:15.2. That will be by far his lowest placing as a member of the Central Iowa Pullers Association. Never quite got the speed that he was looking for there. Run not representative of that truck, that's for sure. And the final puller here in the Pro Street Diesel pickup class actually drew first draw last night up in Jessup. Tonight is in the final position, which is a random computerized number that assigns pulling order when the drivers arrive at a pull and get signed up at the official ECI trailer powered by Champion Seeds. Why they were given a computer generator, and it spits out a number between 1 and 1,000, and whoever's number is the lowest gets to go first, and then second lowest, of course, second, so on. Benefits to each and every position, and in this case, Chris knows what he's got to beat and what he's got to do. Finished 6th in the points. The truck actually didn't get running until about mid-season last year. First hook was in Tipton. And the best that he could do was a 3rd place finish. Last night was his home pull, Blue Diamond Farms. Is what the truck is named after. Oh boy. Certainly not what Chris wants to see.
Small malfunction down here on the track, probably in our best interest. We've got a hot hook down there. Somebody want to get down on the track, get Chris drug up here.
You can see fluids leaking underneath the truck, and that's certainly some bad luck. Chris had a pretty good run going there. And then all of a sudden, something gave up. See fluids leaking there almost immediately. Certainly some bad luck there for Chris Bauer.
All right, Kurt, would you like to come over here for a small award ceremony? Thank you very much, sir. I know you've been working real hard on this truck the last couple years. Kurt Smalley, would you pronounce that Teeterville or Toterville?
Toterville.
Toterville, Iowa. Hard running machine. Thank you very much. If you'd like to thank anyone, I'll give you this opportunity to do so.
Big thanks to Mitch Meinhardt. He does a ton of work to this truck, and I couldn't do it without him. Big thanks to my wife and daughter to allow me to do this. Thanks to the Linn County Fair. I'm glad we could put a show on for you, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of the night. So, thank you.
Guy who won more events on the series last year, even though he missed a few and didn't win the season championship, takes home the trophy in Linn County. Kurt Smalley, Lee Foreman, of course. Great finish for Lee. Man, Nate Weber rounding out the top 5 there with that brand new motor in the Great White truck. And we'll go back to pulling some tractors, actually much higher horsepower tractors. Very entertaining. 466 Limited Pro Stockers is straight ahead here at the Linn County Fair.
Malware and bots and worms, oh my. The wild, wild web can be a scary and complex place. And as our digital world expands, so too are the threats. Watch out, Trojan horse. That's why at MediaCom, we take security very seriously and monitor our networks around the clock to stop threats before they can affect you. Not today, rude kid. Not all internet is created equal. We build ours to keep you connected and protected.
Watching MC22 is now easier than ever before. All MediaCom customers can watch local programming online anytime. Go to MC22.net, click Watch MC22, and log in with your MediaCom account. Not a MediaCom cable subscriber? MediaCom internet or phone subscribers can watch too. Your local programming leader, MC22, online at mc22.net/watch.
This is the internet that keeps the TV streaming, the meetings zooming, the playlist flowing, and the doorbell showing who's coming and going. This is the internet that powers the workout, that does the homework, that makes the lights work, that makes for light work, and makes
Don't forget to pick up Charlie.
your life work. This is the internet that keeps it all connected and has hundreds of people who ensure it's protected.
Nice try, hackers.
This is the internet voted best because it's extreme, nothing less.
Well, it's turned into a gorgeous evening here in northern Linn County in Central City, Iowa, right along the Wapsipinicon River. And we get into much higher horsepower tractors here in the Limited Pro 466 class. As you might imagine, the 470 cubic inch limit there. Limit on the turbo size, but unlimited RPMs, and you'll hear them coming down through the track. No question about that. Defending points champion here. First up tonight, Sullivan family, outstanding pulling family, just north of the border in Delaware County. And Kyle won the championship last year in dominating fashion with more wins than anybody else, more second place finishes than anybody else, in what was arguably the most entertaining class of the year ago, as all of these guys are capable within finishing within just a few feet of each other. He gets a little squirrely to start, gets it under control. Final distance, of course, will determine whether he, as the test puller, decides to keep it. 3:35 and 3, and I would say there's a decent chance that Kyle will want to come back and try that one again. Had to get pretty hard again on the brake towards the end.
See what happens here, see if we can look. Not quite sure regardless. He is gonna set back.
Well, I mentioned back in the Too Hot to Farm class that there were a couple creative paint schemes on some international tractors tonight that are a play off of a design red hood with a black stripe that was original manufacturer equipment during a couple of years that the 66 series was being manufactured by International Harvester, and this is another one, the all-black 1466. Has a great story actually behind this tractor in that it has never been hooked onto a farm implement. It was brought in from the factory on a rail car, and in the process of unloading said rail car, it rolled off, suffering extensive damage. It was that from there turned into a pulling tractor and has been one 40 plus years since. Latest generation to drive it, Carson Mangelson. Finished third in the points a year ago. Did get a win in Manchester and in West Liberty, a couple of second place finishes as well, including here in Central City. Sits second in the points. I'm sorry, sits fifth in the points with that fifth place finish in Davenport a couple of weeks ago. 30 miles an hour top speed down through there, and dominating pull into the lead for Carson Mangelson. How about that? It touched the wheelie bars just a smidgen early on. Straight as an arrow, able to stay off the brakes. 30 miles an hour and into the lead for that young man out of Charlotte, Iowa. What a run. That's why you hear me say this class is one of the more entertaining that we sanction each and every year, and we just knocked the defending points champion right out of first place with that hook. Another local tractor onto the track here at the Linn County Fair in the 860 or the 8500 466 Limited Pro class. Actually, a guy who took last year off. He and his wife blessed with the birth of a child last year, and we didn't see the colorblind tractor at all on the track. Actually, the first time that we'd seen it was last night in Jessup. Refreshed from a couple of years ago. You can see the chrome shifters for Robbie. Very involved with the Linn County Fair Association here as well. Helped rebuild the track back in 2016, driving the dump truck that hauled in a lot of dirt. Make it what it is. Pretty competitive horsepower-wise, there's no question about that. Looks like Robbie's got the chain tight. Green flags are out. Hometown pull here. 3:40 the distance. Carson Mangelson is set out there for the leader. Robbie's waiting on the black smoke. There it comes. Listen to those RPM, unlimited. And into second place with a pull of 3:36.1 for Robbie Crothers. You can see right about there. The front end comes up a little bit more than what you'd like. The wheelie bars hit. Little crooked there towards the end, and top three tractors all within 4 feet of each other here in Central City. Second place finisher from a year ago here in Central City is up next, and the second place points tractor from a year ago as well. It's actually owned by Elmer Van Donselaar. He's generally the driver, but unable to make it tonight. So Mike Hall saw his brother pulling in the Too Hot to Farm class a little earlier. Get strapped in here. You mentioned he came home second here in Central City last year. Did Elmer with this tractor. And won 3 times during the season, had 3 second place finishes as well. So I say all these tractors in this class capable of winning on any given night. Just happened to be that Kyle Sullivan had an outstanding year last year in this class, one of those that every professional truck and tractor puller dreams of. So far this year, he sits third in the points. Third place finish in Allison and a third place finish in Jessup. One night to go. Like getting all the safety gear put on. we go with the green flags. 3:40-1. Carson Mangelson sits in the lead. Mike Hall, the next guy to try and change that. Mark flying as the black smoke comes. On Turn Me Loose. And there's your new leader. 3:44-9. Mike Hall with Elmer Van Donselaar's tractor knocks Carson Mangelson back into second place. Boy, he gets to bouncing a little bit right there, and he goes. That's going to take some distance off. What a run. 4 feet, almost 5 feet better than the prior leader, and Mike Hall takes Turn Me Loose into the first place spot with 3 tractors remaining in the class. Brand new member of the Central Iowa Pullers Association, Kevin Kaufman out of Fairbanks. First time we saw him was actually last night in Jessup. Of course, that serves as his home pull out of Fairbanks. And he did pretty well in his first pull. Second place finish. First time out last night. Again, he'd have as good a shot as any here at taking over the top spot there from Mike Hall. You can see he's pretty heavily weighted onto the front there. $3:44-9. Mike Hall has these bars set pretty high in the 466 class. Kevin Kaufman looking for his first ECI win. Avoids the wheelie bars on the brake shoot a little bit there. And he comes up about 3 feet short. Outstanding pull at 3:42.8, 31 miles an hour. Kevin goes down the track, but get on the brake just a little bit. That undoubtedly took just enough off of Kevin's pull to keep him out of the top spot. Second place last night, second place so far this evening with 2 pullers left, including a past points champion here at the Linn County Fair. Look at this beautiful machine. Past ECI champion machine, in fact 2021. AJ's grandfather, Harry, took home the top prize. Harry had a bit of a medical setback in 2022, and AJ has taken over full-time driving duties, doing a great job ever since. Finished 4th in the points a year ago. Actually missed Central City here, so that's a big reason why he wasn't higher. 3 wins, 4 second-place finishes on the season. This tractor is as tough as they come. If you feel like I sound like a broken record, that's because I kind of am, actually, on this class. Didn't finish on the podium last night, though. Did win in Davenport, currently sits first place in the points race. 3:44.9 is where your leader is at. Smooth start for AJ. Over 31 miles an hour. And into the lead goes AJ Walker at 3:47.9. How about that? What a smooth start he got. See that front end just kind of bobbing along exactly. Perfect on the weighting. And the way this is going, and has happened several different times in this class, the last person to hook on the skid could very well be taking home the plaque tonight. And we're down to the final puller here in the 466 class, which often happens with this class. You go, darn, why does this thing have to end? Guy that finished 6th in the points a year ago. Only because we didn't see him all that often. How about this? He pulled with the East Central Iowa Pullers 5 times last year. You know how many of them he won? 4 of the 5 hooks that he attended. The only one he didn't win was in Iowa City. He finished 2nd. So again, very capable. 3:47 the distance to beat. This is Chris Bates. Off to a really good start as well. Almost hit 31 miles an hour. And he comes up just about 6 inches short. 3:46.11. About a half a mile an hour slower than AJ Walker, and that made all of the difference in this class. Certainly no shame at 3:46.1, that's for sure. And that means AJ Walker out of Washington, Iowa.
Just started pulling a couple years ago, I believe.
I took over after my dad's stroke 2 years ago.
Gotcha. I want to, on behalf of the Linn County Fair Association, like to thank you for coming tonight and winning this class. Would you have, you got any other people you'd like to thank tonight?
I want to thank my dad for letting me do this and say a prayer for him. He's in the hospital tonight. And I want to thank Darren Heineck for doing all the dyno work.
All right. That's right, man. Keep Harry Walker in your prayers. One hell of a competitor, long-time race car driver in the state of Iowa.
So the 2nd win of the year for AJ Walker. 4th place finisher a year ago. Certainly looks like a force to be reckoned with this year. Chris Bates doing what Chris Bates does there. And once again, the 466 class does not disappoint with 4 lead changes as we move into the Unlimited Pros, or the Limited Pros 4-1 here in just a moment at the Linn County Fair.
Malware and bots and worms, oh my. The wild, wild web can be a scary and complex place. And as our digital world expands, so too are the threats. Watch out, Trojan horse. That's why at MediaCom, we take security very seriously and monitor our networks around the clock to stop threats before they can affect you. Not today, rude kid. Not all internet is created equal. We build ours to keep you connected and protected.
This is the internet that keeps the TV streaming, the meetings zooming, the playlist flowing, and the doorbell showing who's coming and going. This is the internet that powers the workout, that does the homework, that makes the lights work, that makes for light work, and makes
Don't forget to pick up Charlie.
your life work. This is the internet that keeps it all connected and has hundreds of people who ensure it's protected.
Nice try, hackers.
This is the internet voted best because it's extreme, nothing less.
We'll crank things up maybe 600-700 horsepower here as the professional truck and tractor pulling continues at the Linn County Fair on MC22. Go from the 8,500-pound 466 Limited Pro to the 9,500-pound 4.1 Limited Pro stock tractors. Bigger cubic inches, bigger tires, bigger turbocharger, and you see a lot of horsepower, and also the fastest growing class on the East Central Iowa Pulling Championship Series. There are 3 tractors here tonight who have less than 3 hooks in their entire life. And there's another tractor here who we haven't seen yet this year. So it is a fun class, there's no question about that. I had the chance to catch up with one of these guys too. We'll hear from Dan Kirby a little bit later on in the pits. Great pulling family here to kick us off. Chris, brother Colin. Chris finished 4th in the season points championship a year ago, but he missed the first couple. Including this pole he missed a year ago. 3 wins. Listen to the RPMs there. And 366 feet for Chris Lear. Won last night in Jessup as well. Did Chris. Actually sits 6th place at the season championship only due to a slight issue in Allison that he got corrected very, very quickly. 2016 4.1 Limited Pro Stock ECI champion on the track now. And whether you like red or green or orange, one of the prettiest tractors that you're going to see. There are a couple of them in this class. Dan Kirby's looks very, very good as well. Bill finished 3rd in the points a year ago. 3rd place here, in fact, as well. Won a couple of times towards the end of the year. Took him a while to finally get to the top of the podium. Palo was one of his wins, as was Tripola. Went to the state fair, competed with the Outlaws, finished in the top 5 there. Great to see ECI with outstanding representation. The Iowa State Fair, great sponsor for the organization, and currently sits first place in the points race. No, not bad. 2nd place finish in Davenport, 3rd place in Allison. Had a bit of a disappointment last night. He finished last, so looking to redeem himself maybe a little bit here. Down a pass too. Look at that. Carrying the front end just the way you want to, and perhaps slipped out of gear for Bill. If that's the case, nice job by the skid man to get the kill switch, or Bill by backing off before damage was done, although the way he's looking at things, it doesn't appear like maybe he slipped out of gear. Boy, disappointing to say the least for Bill Feigenbaum, the way that that thing was going. And you can see that he knows it. Just shakes his head a little bit. Sometimes bad luck is the only type of luck in tractor pulling, and Bill Feigenbaum, after a rough go of it last night, another rough go of it here tonight in Central City. I mentioned that there were 3 tractors here tonight that have less than 3 passes down the track on their life. This is one of them. In fact, this tractor just got completed Wednesday of last week and pulled last night in Jessup. It was a 9,500-pound hot farm. In fact, Kirk and Scott Franzen won the 2016 points championship in the 9,500-pound hot farm class. And then they missed the entire year last year as they were waiting on parts. So before last night, we hadn't seen this tractor in a long time. Son Levi drove it last night, pulling a family affair. Of course, Kirk and Scott Franzen, I mentioned, won the points championship in 2016 in a different class, brother-in-laws. Kirk gets to do the driving tonight. Finished second, first time out last night, which is pretty incredible. Had a little, actually, you know, we talk about being lucky. He drew randomly the first puller last night and had a little bit of a hiccup, so he was able to turn that down, come back later, and it ran fantastic. Another one of our Jones-Jackson County competitors. And certainly looks like it's capable. 366, Chris Lear pulled it as our leader. Look at that, front end up the entire way. And pulls it 343 and 2. 32 miles an hour top speed there for Kirk. Watch this, the front end leaves the ground and doesn't come back down until there. Carried it for 200 plus feet. See Levi is Kirk's son walking alongside there. Not running for points this year, running to work on the tractor, running to have fun, and we'll see what happens next year, says Kirk. But great to have those folks back here with us along the East Central Iowa Championship Pulling Series. Last year's points champion on the track now, the Darien Deer. Your leader is Chris Lear, brother Colin. Take a shot at him here. He was your winner in this class a year ago. Won a total of 5 times during the season. Finished second 3 more times. You can see why he won the season championship over Brian Buchholz, who we have actually yet to see this year in this class. In pretty significant fashion. So far this year, had a bit of a slower start in 4th place. 3rd place finish for Davenport. Finished 5th in Allison, and 4th last night. 366th of distance for his brother. He pulls it 3:52. 31.5 miles an hour for Colin Lear. Second place is where Colin slides into. And look how much dirt these tractors are bringing up from the track there in front of the skid. That's what horsepower does for you, or to you, I guess, if you're the track. Scatter that back out there and get the track back into great shape for our next competitor. Well, the first time all year that we've seen this guy, Dan Kirby, his home pull from just up the way. And we caught up with Dan in the hauler a little bit earlier down in the pits.
2021 points champion in the 4.1 Limited Pro class is Dan Kirby, and my girlfriend Alice. Out for the first time this season. Dan, good to see you.
Yes, we are. We finally got the time to come out and got the tractor ready, and hopefully it runs good tonight and everything stays together and this rain will kind of stop and we'll get a good show in tonight.
You've got perhaps the prettiest tractor in ECI. You obviously spent some time with the design. How did that all come together?
Well, I actually painted cars for 20 years. So I've done all the paint work on this. My wife actually picked the color on it. I let her decide the color on it for this tractor. So she picked the color on it and I said, let's roll with it. Just came up with the color scheme. I did a little bit of airbrushing on it. And yeah, it turned out really nice. We're really, really proud of it. So
you've been tractor pulling a while. What do you enjoy about it?
I enjoy the people. The people are the best part to me. Obviously, when your equipment stays together, it's always a plus. But yeah, the people are just amazing. We enjoy coming. We sit in the trailers. We talk. Everyone helps everyone out. So yeah, it's always a good time.
And I know this pull in Central City is special to you as well as the home pull.
Yeah, we live only about 5 miles from here. So it was kind of hard, being our first time out. We've been busy with businesses. We own a Manna Colony's Bakery and Cafe and a popcorn ice cream shop. So we've been busy with that, but 5 miles away, me and the wife talked, and it's like, yep, we're going. We can't miss this one. We're going kind of, it's basically our hometown pull. So
what did it mean to win that season-long championship 2 years ago?
It meant quite a bit. It's kind of me and my wife. We do most of the wrenching. She helps me change oil and do stuff like that. So she's out there with me in the trenches, late nights, early mornings. I never really ran for a points championship, so that year we kind of talked it over. I said, well, I just want to go out there, and Denny Healy's got this thing running really, really good. I couldn't do it without him. So we went out there. We had a good season. Had a couple hiccups, but we gave it our best shot. And we came away with our first points championship ever. So.
4.1 Limited Pro, highest horsepower tractors that we'll see on the track tonight. 2,500-ish horsepower, if you guys would be honest about the dyno sheets. What does it describe that feeling when you're sitting there, you get the chain tight, and you're getting ready to go?
So the way I explain it to my wife, she laughs at me all the time, but you get in an airplane, and they're on the runway, and they crack open the throttle, and they release the brake to take off. To me, that's about as close as it gets to running one of these. When you're cracking the throttle, you start letting the clutch out. When you let the clutch out and it takes off and the front end lifts in the air, it's about like riding in an airplane.
Except you're the one at the controls.
I know. I always joke with her all the time. I'm like, you think the pilot would let me crack the throttle on one of these? I'm like, I don't want to take off. I just want to crack the throttle.
Good luck tonight, Dan. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
After that season points championship in 21, bit of an off year last year, a more sporadic year as he actually missed 4 pulls. Finished second here in Central City, though, last year. That was his best finish of the year. And his first hook of the year is tonight, the home pull for Dan Kirby. Runs as hard as any of them, there's no doubt about that. Over 31 miles an hour. And third place, 3:46 and 4. On a first time out for Dan this year. And boy, the Detroit Diesel sounds and runs as good as it ever did during the championship season. Bouncing a little bit there. Slowed some things down against the wheelie bars, but very respectable on My Girlfriend Alice. Another one of those tractors that has less than 3 trips down the pass in its existence, although the frame and the sheet metal is the same, but it's also another guy that we didn't see at all last year. He is a past ECI champion in the Super Farm class, which isn't pulling here tonight at the Linn County Fair. 9,300-pound Super Farms. Kyle took home the trophy back in 2019 in that class. Of course, Kyle's been pulling in a lot of different classes for quite a while. Also took home the Super Farm Championship in 2017. Back in 2015, a little bit of a different class, a limited pro class. He was points champion then as well. And calls the tractor the Deer Hunter. You can see the passion for the red paint that Kyle has there, hanging up the green tractors on the side. .339 and 5 for Kyle. 31.3 miles an hour. Continues to get that tractor to run a little bit better and a little bit better. Did have a 4th place finish in Allison. Wasn't on the podium that night, but he continues to tweak that thing some. It was the middle of the 2021 season, actually, towards the end of it. And he was having a good year too, was competitive in the points championship, several wins on the year, and then his motor decided it didn't want to run any longer. And, that was the last time that we had seen Kyle. Had it rebuilt mostly last year, was waiting on parts. Glad that he is back with us on a regular basis. And we're down to the final puller here in this very entertaining limited pro class. Led the entire way by Chris Lear, who was our first puller. Looking for his first win of the year. And one more competitor left to try and change that. Brian finished 5th in the points championship. Missed 4 pulls a year ago, so that certainly was working against him. But very competitive when he was in attendance. Got a win in Monticello, great Jones County Fair. 3rd place finish at the Jackson County Fair in Maquoketa. But he is going to need a strong run tonight. There is no question about that. Currently sits 3rd place in the points, 2nd place finish in Allison. Podium finish last night as well. and will need the perfect run to take home his first victory of the season. Certainly starts off well, 32 miles an hour. And a second place performance. Excuse me, third place performance, I believe, for Brian. Gardner hit 32 miles an hour. Heck of a run. Nothing wrong with third place. That gets him on the podium. Colin Lear. First puller, sets the example. Took the distance, said, I don't know if I can do any better than that, but I don't think anybody else can either, and he was exactly right. First win of the season for Chris out of Wisconsin.
Get the right trophy dug up. Chris Lear, your first puller of the class, is going to be the winner tonight. All right, we gotta make him meet me in the middle here. We got lights to worry about now. We can't just do this show anywhere we want to. All right, Chris, step right up. All right, I remember you showing up to a pull about 10 years ago to Cresco, Iowa, with a pickup truck to pull. And here we are with 4.1s, man. Good to see you back.
Thank you. Really good track. Awesome crowd. I'm sure glad they got it in because it was a really good crowd.
Awesome, awesome. On behalf of the Linn County Fair Association, congratulations on your win tonight. Thank you for competing here. And man, God makes the best tracks, that's for sure.
Boy, tremendous track, no doubt about that. Longest pull of the night, top speed as well. As Chris hit 33.3 miles an hour. Incredible horsepower. And yet, we will see even more horsepower. Highest horsepower machines, period, that are sanctioned by the East Central Iowa Pullers. It's about to get loud with the super modified two-wheel drive pickups. Grand finale is straight ahead from Central City on MC22.
Malware and bots and worms, oh my. The wild, wild web can be a scary and complex place. And as our digital world expands, so too are the threats. Watch out, Trojan horse. That's why at MediaCom, we take security very seriously and monitor our networks around the clock to stop threats before they can affect you. Not today, rude kid. Not all internet is created equal. We build ours to keep you connected and protected.
Watching MC22 is now easier than ever before. All MediaCom customers can watch local programming online anytime. Go to MC22.net, click Watch MC22, and log in with your MediaCom account. Not a MediaCom cable subscriber? MediaCom internet or phone subscribers can watch too. Your local programming leader, MC22, online at mc22.net/watch.
This is the internet that keeps the TV streaming, the meetings zooming, the playlist flowing, and the doorbell showing who's coming and going. This is the internet that powers the workout, that does the homework, that makes the lights work, that makes for light work, and makes
Don't forget to pick up Charlie.
your life work. This is the internet that keeps it all connected and has hundreds of people who ensure it's protected.
Nice try, hackers.
This is the internet voted best because it's extreme, nothing less.
All right, it's about to get loud here on the Linn County Fairgrounds in Central City with the 62 100-pound super modified four-wheel drive truck, or two-wheel drive truck class, excuse me. Highest horsepower machines on the championship pulling series. Superchargers run on some of these machines. Some of them louder than others, certainly, but all of them competitive. Front end will be off the ground basically the entire time, and look out as you can feel the vibration and the pressure of these 2,800 plus 2,900 horsepower high performance engines on your chest as they come down the track. First up is the guy who won the first time out in Davenport and currently leads the points. .341, 29.2 miles an hour, Jason's distance, and we'll see if he keeps that or not. You see the front end pretty heavy there for much of the pull. One in Davenport, as I mentioned, finished third last night. Truck that only made a couple of appearances on the East Central Iowa pulling circuit last year as he worked on it. Never finishing in the top three, but boy, has he got some things figured out. Horsepower to the track now. Next up, the fourth place truck from a year ago in the points championship. Feeling lucky. Driven by Chad Kinnekine there out of Oxford, Johnson County. Won the pole in Manchester last year. Finished third place here in Central City. And yet this is the first time that we've actually seen Chad this season on the East Central Iowa pulling circuit. It's great to have him back with us tonight. Maybe still a little bit of work to do for Chad. Fine tuning. 255 and 4, only managing about 23 miles an hour. Just kind of tell it never really took off the way that they're supposed to take off. Tough luck there for Chad as he's got his helmet off there. And they go back to the drawing board of sorts. With the two-wheel drive pickup. Two-time defending ECI champion Dean Stubbe brings the plaything onto the track. Pretty good season last season for Dean. Finished second here in Central City. Winning a couple of times. Second place finishes 4 times, and perhaps as much as anything, his worst finish was 7th place the first hook of the year. So the consistency model, as much as anything, pushing Dean to his 2nd consecutive class championship. 341, Jason Sullivan in the lead with that distance on the Cornberger. Dean trying to do something about that. .297 and 2, 297 and 7. A little excess alcohol burning off there on the plaything. 100% alcohol fueled engines. Sometimes the strategy two-wheel drive pickups is sort of a slow start and keep from pulling the front end too far off the ground. It looked like Dean maybe could have turned it loose a little sooner. Did have to get hard, obviously, on that left brake. Which didn't help matters any. First time of the year that we've seen this guy with us on the Central Iowa Championship Pulling Series. In fact, the last time we saw Mark was a year ago at Central City. Where he finished 6th. And then we didn't get to see him again until right now. Tough running old Ford. North Liberty. A little bit different sound to it as well. You can hear it. There you go. Talked about with Dan Kirby a little bit ago in the pits. A lot of these pullers take great pride in the artsmanship and the decoration of these vehicles. Jason Sullivan in the lead at 3:41. Turns it loose a little bit sooner here this run than Dean did last time. Boy. Something wasn't quite right there. He never really did. Get up to full RPM or horsepower. Thought for a second that maybe he was just taking it really easy, but then it became apparent that something wasn't right. 2:17 and 3. Great to see Mark. Unfortunate the tough luck here. Hopefully he'll be back on the track soon, get things corrected in this super modified two-wheel drive truck class. Well, down to 4 poles left in tonight's feature presentation of professional truck and tractor pulling here at the Linn County Fair. And the next truck up is the truck that finished second in the points race a year ago. Actually missed the pole here in Central City. Or most likely would have been points champion. 6 wins on the season. A second place finish where Linn trying to knock off Jason Sullivan there, the first puller of the class. .285 and 2. A lot of smoke coming out there, a little excess alcohol that you can see being burned off under the night sky. Here comes the special delivery truck. One of the most unique you will find here on the Central Iowa pulling circuit, and really when it comes to two-wheel drive trucks in general. Great pulling family, the Wendling family, been doing it a long time. Truck was new a year ago. It took Randy a little bit to kind of get it tuned up and dialed in. He finished 5th in Central City last year. Never did get a win with it, but did manage to pick up 3 second-place finishes at the conclusion of the season. Apparently sits 3rd in the points this year with 2 third-place finishes. Trying to do better than that tonight. 3:41 is Jason Sullivan's distance. Once again, the first puller of the class so far has been able to hold on to the lead. This will make some noise as well. .317 the distance. Randy topping 28 miles an hour. Second place is where he powers into. Steam rising from that high horsepower, high output machine. And the second best pull of the night so far here at the Linn County Fair. And then there were 2 trucks left to pull and pulls left to complete at the Linn County Fair in Central City, Iowa. It's been a wonderful night of professional truck and tractor pulling. We certainly hope you've enjoyed it on MC22. Thanks for having us in. Truck that finished 7th a year ago in the points, missed Central City a year ago, and actually, towards the end of the year, kind of disappeared. But he's been impressive this year. Currently sitting 2nd place in the points. 2nd place finish in Davenport. 3rd last night, Jessup. Pulls at 291 and 2. That puts him in 4th place here in the moment. Track's become difficult to get a hold of for these pickups, there's no doubt. And the final pull of the evening has descended upon the track. Showdown truck. Distance to beat is Jason Sullivan to 341. Had a good run going too, but not quite. Almost 29 miles an hour at 313.3 into 3rd place is where Chad ends up, and that means once again, as has happened 3 times tonight now, and that's rare, the first driver of the class becomes the winning driver of the class.
We got our winner here tonight, Jason Sullivan, on behalf of the Linn County Fair Board Association. We have our winner here. Jason is no stranger to the Linn County Fair, been pulling 2-wheel drive trucks and diesel semis here for many, many years. And thank you for coming. If there's anything you'd like to say, say it now, man.
Just glad the rain held off. Everybody come out to watch us, and thank all these guys that come with me every single time to go pulling and help me get this thing down the track.
That's right. One heck of a track here tonight, and thank you all. Stay tight, get in your seats, and we got fireworks yet to come.
Absolutely. All right, Wyatt, wonderful job there on the track tonight. And what a great evening of one of the most grassroots forms of family entertainment in the upper Midwest here in the heart of eastern Iowa. Professional truck and tractor pulling. You can follow along all season long, by the way, including live results at ECIPA.net or join us on social media. Jason Sullivan, first puller, holding everybody else off. Great class of 4-wheel drive trucks. Genuine thank you to all of our entire MC22 crew doing such a wonderful job. Special thanks as well to Gina Rochar, Secretary of the Central Iowa Pullers, up here in Crow's Nest with us. On behalf of the Central Iowa Pulling Association, the Linn County Fair Association, Andy Peterson, it's been a pleasure to be with you tonight.